guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video in my full month of nothing new. Today we are doing a good old-fashioned declutter. We're going to be tackling my base products today. I'm talking my concealers and my foundations. I've never done this before. I am sure there's some stuff hiding in the back of my drawers that needs to be gotten rid of. So we're going to go through and get rid of everything that is old and or expired and hopefully make some room in my overflowing drawers. And in the process, I'll give you guys an idea of what foundations and concealers I am a fan of or I recommend. So I hope you guys are excited about it. Before we jump into it, special welcome to any new visitors to my channel. Hopefully you enjoy this video, and if you do, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe before you leave. With that said, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so here's a quick look at what we're going to be tackling today. So this is my foundation and primer drawer. I also have bronzers in here, but we're not going to be doing those today. But this is just a mix of foundations and primers. As you can see, honestly, my drawer barely closes. There might even be a few things that are floating around on my desk that I can't fit in here right now, so this definitely needs to be done. Also, we're going to do this over here. So this is where all my brow products are. Also, all my concealers are here. There might be some other random things floating inside of here, but this is another drawer that I have a hard time closing. In fact, I'd like to put some of these in here, and I know there's a lot of old stuff in here that needs to be thrown away. So I'm going to put this all in a box, head upstairs to better lighting, and we will tackle the declutter. Alright guys, we're going to go through primers really quickly. I'm going to keep all three of these from Flower Beauty. I do like this Supernova Celestial Skin Elixir. It's a really nice oil. I really like this stuff as well too. This is newer to me, but I have been using a lot lately and liking it. And then this one right here is their Chill Out Skin Serum that I just got and I'm still trying out. So I'm going to keep these. Also going to keep my Smashbox Primerizer. I'm trying to finish this thing up. I've had it for a while, but I feel like it's still good and I want to try and use it up. I do like it a lot. Also going to keep the Catrice Fresh It Up Primer. I like this one as well. It's a good dupe for the Smashbox one. I'm also going to keep both of my Touch in Sol No Pore Bloom Primers. I really like these two. I'm going to keep my Garnier Illuminating Moisturizer. I'm going to keep my Milani Soft Focus Glow. I'm going to keep this sample of the Becca First Light Priming Filter. This is, I think, it's probably about 2/3 of the way gone, but I can probably get this used up pretty quick. And last, I'm going to keep the MAC Strobe Cream. These are the ones that I think I'm going to get rid of. So this is pretty old. This is the e.l.f. I don't even remember what this is called. I'm going to get rid of that because it's older. Also, this Cover FX one is older, and I never really loved this one that much either. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to get rid of this CoverGirl one. I actually like this one on my skin, but it smells terrible, and it's always smelled bad. It just has a weird like cornflakes scent that I don't like. And I'm going to get rid of my Physicians Formula Spotlight Primer. I do like this one. It is super glowy, but it is quite old, and I think it's time to get rid of that one. And this one I found hiding in the back of my drawer. I think this thing's like 3 years old. I never really liked it. Never really even used it more than halfway, but I definitely don't want to keep this one. So this is it. These are all the primers that I'm going to be keeping. All right, let's jump into some foundations. So starting with a couple I know I'm going to be keeping, my Misha BB creams. Yeah, I think I'll keep all three of these. These two shades don't match me very well, but I do often use them as mix-ins with other foundations, and I really do love the formula of these. But number 27 is probably my best shade match. A little dark for me in the winter, but I find the undertone of this one to be the best for my skin tone. I'm also going to keep all of my Flower Beauty Light Illusion foundations. This is my best shade, Nude L3. I'm getting pretty close to using this one up. Then I have these two shades that I use a lot as mix-ins, Tawny M4 and Shell L0. Way too light for me, way too dark for me, but I can actually combine these two to get a good shade match for me. And my guess is when I do run out of this one, I'll probably repurchase the shade because it's a really good shade match for me on its own. I think it's time to get rid of the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion. I do love this stuff. I haven't seen it around. I think they may have discontinued it, which I think is unfortunate, but it's pretty much gone. Another one I can get rid of that I forgot that I even still owned is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Cushion. Do they still make this? I can't remember. I haven't looked at L'Oreal's section very closely lately, but this one I've had a long time. The shade match was never great for me. This one's in the shade N2. The W range always works better for me from L'Oreal. I find the neutral to be a little bit too pink on my skin tone because I do have, even though I'm fair, I have a pretty warm undertone. So this right here, this is from Chanel. I loved this foundation. I've had it for like literally I think like 6 years. I haven't used it for several years and I think it's pretty much gone, so this one can be thrown away. I just, for some reason, because it's a Chanel bottle, I never wanted to throw it away. But That's ridiculous. I can finally throw this thing in the trash. A couple more that I'm gonna be keeping, my Estee Lauder Futurist and also the Revlon Candid foundation. I really like this and this. I think I've talked about both of them. The Revlon, I do really like how this looks and feels on my skin, but it has a weird smell to it. I didn't notice it the first time I used it, but the more I used it, the more it became apparent. And it's not that it's going bad, it just has a kind of off-putting scent, but I do really like it, so I am going to keep it. I can deal with this subtle scent. CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made Foundation. I've never liked this foundation. I used it once. It was way too mattifying and the shade is too light for me. Another keeper, this is a brand new bottle or nearly new bottle of the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear, one of my all-time favorite foundations. This one is in the shade, I think it's Linen. Yeah, 425 Linen. Great match for me. Maybelline Superstay. This one's a little bit older. I don't like this one. If you're looking for a budge-proof foundation, I definitely like the L'Oreal more than I like the Maybelline. This one's really hard to blend. It's a lot thicker. Another one I'm gonna throw away, though I do really like this one, is the e.l.f. I can't remember the name of this foundation. I think it changed names. It's the one in the glass bottle. It only has 0.68 ounces in it, which I was kind of annoyed when I discovered that, because even though this is like a $6 or $8 foundation, there's only half the amount of product in it, which makes it a much more expensive foundation if you're looking at it from a value standpoint. But I do like the way this feels. It reminds me a lot of my IT Cosmetics CC Cream, which you know is one of my all-time favorites. This one right here, this is the Cover FX Custom Cover Drops. This one is too dark for me. I think I found this at TJ Maxx a while ago. I want to say like 6 or 8 months ago. I do sometimes use this as a mix-in for foundations that are too light for me. I think I'll probably keep this around for a while. This one right here, I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I kind of like this foundation, I kind of don't. It's actually a little bit oily on my skin, which is kind of odd because not many foundations feel oily on my very dry skin. This one is in the shade Classic Ivory 120. I want to use this a little bit more and kind of gather my thoughts. I'm also going to keep these two right here. These ones are about a year old now, maybe even a little more than a year. I probably should get rid of them soon, but they're almost gone, and I do really love having these, especially for recommendations when I'm doing like affordable makeup. I think they're really good foundations and they're extremely affordable. Some of my most affordable foundations in my collection. Just a really good option from the drugstore, so I'm going to keep these around for a while longer. I'm gonna get rid of this right here. This is from NYX. I don't think they sell this anymore. It's the Mineral Stick Foundation and it's just about gone. I actually did like this a lot, but it's old. They don't sell it anymore and I just don't reach for it anymore, so I'm gonna toss this one. I will, however, keep these two right here. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Stick Foundation and the Wet n Wild Foundation Stick. I like both of these. I like to mix them together actually. This one's a tiny bit light for me, so I use this on the center of my face and then I will combine it with this one, use this one on the perimeter. Here's one that I can get rid of, the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir. Did they discontinue this? I feel like they discontinued it and then maybe brought it back, but then I don't know if they discontinued it again or maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but I got this after hearing Raw Beauty Kirsty rave about it. I don't like it that much, and the reason is I find that CoverGirl foundations, they do something really weird to my skin. Like no matter what shade I pick, they always turn very, very pink or peach or weird looking on my skin. I don't know if it's just oxidizing, but they never work out for me. I remember that situation from like 20 years ago in high school, having problems with their foundations doing that. Two more I'm gonna keep. This one is new to me. This is the Flower Get Real Serum Foundation. I've tried it once or twice. I'll be honest, I'm not loving it as much as the Light Illusion right now. It's much more lightweight. It's a little bit more oily. So if you have anywhere near, I would say even normal to oily skin, I don't think you would like this, but I'm still testing it, so I'm gonna keep it for now and I will try and give you guys an update soon. This is another great one that I really like. I haven't been using it as much, I kind of forgot about it. It's from Peri Para. I got this at Yes Style. It's the Ink Lasting Cover Foundation. This was raved about by Taylor Wynn here on YouTube. I do really like it. I have it in the shade Sand, which is 03. I need to try and use this one a little bit more because I kind of forgot about it. Another one I like and one that I'm getting close to using up is the Sephora 10-Hour Wear Perfection Foundation. I have it in the shade Light 16 Linen, I believe. I do like this foundation. It's a little bit thick. If you don't like really thick kind of creamy foundations, you might not like this one. It's not watery at all. It's very, very thick. It reminds me a lot of the Conceal and Perfect, but I like it. It wears well on me. It's a pretty good shade match and I want to try and use it up. Let's have a look at all my Wet n Wild foundations. So starting with, I think I actually picked up two of the same shade, did I? Oh, no. Okay, so this is a new one. This is the Dewy Foundation. So these three right here are the Dewy. These are the original ones. This one is in the shade Fair or Shell Ivory. This one is way too light for me. I I mean, even as a mix-in, it's too light for me. I might have swatched it once, but I don't think I've ever even used this one, so I might pass this on. These two I'm definitely keeping. One of my favorite foundations from this last year, the Dewy foundation. Not long wearing at all. I know I've mentioned that a lot, but I love the way this looks and feels on my skin if I'm looking for something just to last me for 5 or 6 hours. I'm also gonna keep these two, the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I'm just about done with the 03 Light Beige. This is probably the best shade match for me. Maybe a little bit too dark for me in the winter time, but it's another one that I'll often mix one of my lighter foundations in with. I love this foundation. It's very thick, very creamy, but I love the way it feels on my dry skin and the way it wears on me. Oops, skipped over the original Wet n Wild foundation. I like this foundation okay, but now that I have the Dewy foundation, I just don't reach for this anymore. It's been a while since I even used these, and they are a little bit older, so I think it's time to just toss these. Getting down to the end, let's go to these two right here. ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. I like this one. I need to use it some more. I used it for a couple of days or maybe a week or two in a row, and I liked it, but I can't remember if I loved it or not. So I need to use this one a little bit more because I feel like I never gathered my thoughts on this thing. I remember liking it, but I don't remember if I loved it, I probably would be reaching for it more. This one right here, this is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue. I got this at TJ Maxx probably over a year ago. It seemed a little off even when I got it, like it was kind of clumpy. I know this is meant to be like a mix between a tinted moisturizer or foundation and a sunscreen. I never really liked it, and it might just be that this was never, like maybe it was expired when I bought it, but it's one that I think I'm gonna go ahead and toss. This right here is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro foundation. This is a foundation, it looks really good on my skin, on camera or from a slight distance. Up close, it can be a little heavy. It can look a little heavy kind of in my pore area near my nose or in my like smile lines or my forehead lines. It can settle. I have to be careful with how much I use, but I do really like how it looks on camera, and it wears pretty well for me. This is the shade Cashmere 06. It's a perfect shade match for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep this one. There are things I don't like about it, but there are some things I do like about it, so I'm gonna keep it and try and use it some more. I have these two right here. This is the CYO Long Lasting Foundation. I've had these for a while. I actually got a bunch of stuff from CYO to do a CYO dedicated video. And then a month later, after I got my box, I hadn't filmed the video yet, I found out they were discontinuing all their products. So I never did do that. I know Taylor Wynn, it's like her go-to. She absolutely loves it. I like it. I don't love it though. It's not very hydrating, which is probably the reason I don't love it. I have two shades of it. I have the shade 101 and 105. 105 is definitely a better match for me. This one is a little bit light and a little bit gray and ashy in tone, but I do think I'm gonna keep them for now, even though they are a little bit older. I've barely used them, and I feel like these will be good options for wearing under a mask when I need something that's transfer resistant, because this stuff does last really well on my skin. It's pretty budge proof. This right here, I found this at a TJ Maxx. It's the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Serum Foundation. Honestly, I think I used this and I didn't really like it. It was a really good shade match for me. Very lightweight, very oily, and I'm not even sure if they sell this anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and just toss this in the garbage because my guess is this is probably expired. This right here, this is the Becca Aqualuminous Perfecting Foundation. I really like this foundation. They may have discontinued it or be discontinuing it. Mine's getting close to being used up. It's probably almost expired because I've had this for more than a year now, but I am really close to finishing it up, and I do like to use this as a mix-in for some of my lighter foundations. Makeup Revolution Ultra HD Foundation, love this stuff. One of the few foundations that I do repurchase, the higher end foundations that I do repurchase because I love it so much. It's amazing. It wears well. The shade match for me is perfect. YA245, just a really good all-around foundation that I think would work for a lot of different skin types. I have the original Bare Minerals foundation. I can't tell if I like this stuff or not. It's kind of a mystery to me. I don't dislike it, but it's such a weird, different formula to work with that I feel like it's gonna take me a lot of testing to figure out if this is a good product for me or not. I'm gonna keep it for now and try and maybe get some more use out of it. Let me know if you guys are interested in me doing like a thorough review of this product. I know it's been around forever, but if that's something you'd like to see, let me know. Last two, I forgot about these. They were actually in a different drawer. So my Cosmetics CC Cream, this is a brand new one. Definitely not getting rid of that one, one of my favorites. And then my Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation. I kind of feel the same way about this one as I do about the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Foundation. It can be a little bit heavy, can be a little bit more mattifying than I typically like, but I do like the way that this looks on my skin, especially for like pictures or for on camera. So there we have it, guys. Maybe not the best job in the world, but I think this is gonna help a lot with my drawer downstairs. These are the ones I'm gonna keep for now. These are the ones that I'm getting rid of. 13 here, 31 here. now let's move into concealer. Starting with my Candid concealers, these will not be going anywhere. These are my two backups in the shades 05 and 030. These are the two that I have open. I actually have a third one. I have a 030 open now as well, but I can't find it. Love this concealer. You guys know I've raved about it all year long, so those are definitely keepers for me. Another one that is old and can be thrown away is this. I think it's from Wet n Wild. I almost used it up, which is pretty impressive. I don't even remember if I like it. I don't remember if they still sell it, but it's old and needs to be tossed. Another one, how close am I with this one right here? I think this is pretty much gone. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and toss the Ulta Beauty Concealer. I love this concealer. There's not a lot of product inside here though, and it is a little bit pricey. Now that I've discovered my love for the Candid concealer, I don't think I'll be repurchasing this, but it's not a bad one. It's not one I would not recommend. I would just recommend this one a lot more. Okay, these two right here, these are two stick sort of concealers from e.l.f. I kind of hated these things. There are certain situations I really like a stick concealer for, especially for like touching up blemishes after I've already applied my foundation, my blush and bronzer. If I need to apply concealer to my cheeks, I like having a stick concealer to do that with. These I just never really liked though. They were a little bit thick, a little bit greasy. This one, the lid fell off, which is so annoying, especially if you're traveling with it. So I'm gonna toss these two in the garbage. Another one I can toss in the garbage, another one that was floating around at the very back is this old Hard Candy Glamouflage concealer. I kind of like this stuff. It's really, really heavy, really like super heavy coverage, but there's definitely better concealers now, but I do remember liking this when I first tried it, but it's old, so we're gonna toss it. Another one that's old that we need to toss is this old Maybelline Master Conceal Concealer, one that I did like before, but I would bet if I tried this one now, I probably would not like it as much. I also need to toss this right here, actually these two right here. These are really old Fit Me concealers. I think they're pretty much gone. I did like this concealer. I would say this one is much better than this one right here. I would consider repurchasing these, but for now they're old and they need to be tossed. Another two that I need to toss are my old, I do like these. These are the original ColourPop, what they used to call the No Filter Concealer. I think it has a different name now. I really did like them. They're just very, very old and need to be thrown away. Let's pick a few that I'm gonna keep around. How about my e.l.f. concealer? So I do really like these concealers, and I think I actually like the original Camo concealer better than the hydrating one. I just think it wears a little bit better, but I like them both. I just can't use them super regularly. If I use them, say 2 or 3 days consistently, they will make me break out a little bit, but I can use them on occasion. They make great eyeshadow primers and they're super affordable, so I am going to keep them for now. I have this right here. This is the Catrice Camouflage Pot Concealer. I really like this stuff. I don't think they make it or sell it anymore. At least the last time I checked Ulta's website, they didn't sell it. I do like it. I think I like this stuff better, that we'll get to in a sec, the pot concealer for the same. But for now, I'm gonna keep it because I do use this one on occasion. Definitely keeping both of these. I use these things all the time, you guys. But these are like concealers that I use when I'm in a pinch and I just need to toss something on my under eye circles or maybe on a blemish. They're super quick and easy to use, so I do use these quite a bit. I think it's time to pass along this Born This Way Naturally Radiant Concealer. Do they still make this? I think I found it at Marshall's over the summer. It's a little too dark for me. I'll probably just toss this in the trash. I didn't really love it either. I liked it, but it was not nearly as good as the next toothpaste concealer, which I will be keeping, the Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. One of my ultimate favorite concealers, probably next to the Revlon. This would be my next, maybe one of my next favorite concealers. I do love this one a lot. I have it in the shade Vanilla. Also love these two. Love the CoverGirl concealers. They're two more of my favorites from the drugstore, and these ones don't make me break out. They do remind me a lot of the e.l.f. ones. They might be a little bit more pricey, but you also get a lot of products inside these ones. I think the value on these is great and they perform really well. I have two shades, the shades L200 and M100. This stuff is completely gone. This is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer. I love this stuff. It does smell really strongly. Like, it's very, very perfumey smelling. So if you are sensitive to scent, I would be warned of that, but I do like this concealer a lot. I'm gonna get rid of this too. The NYX Dark Circle Concealer Corrector. I think this one's just too dark for me, and I'm just not one to color correct, you guys. Just one more step. Too high maintenance for me. I just pick one concealer and just go with it. This is I've had a few of these. This is my most recent one. It's probably nearing a year old, but I'm just about done with it. So I'm gonna make it a goal to use this thing up soon. One of my favorites from the drugstore as well. This stuff from Jordana is old. I think I found this at like a Shopko or something that was going out of business. I don't know if they make that anymore. Time to toss it. Also gonna get rid of this one. I found this at a Marshall's, I think. The NYX Gotcha concealer. It's waterproof, it says. I mean, it was obviously meant to dupe the IT Cosmetics. I don't think it's as good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it. I don't think it's bad, but I do have the original IT Cosmetics and I just think they're better. So maybe I have someone that can use this. Maybe I'll see if my sister wants to give it a try. I'll pass this along to my sister. Definitely keeping my two IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, but look what happened, you guys. I'm so sad about this. I have two shades of this, the shade Medium Honey and the shade Light Nude. This is a little too light for me. This is a little bit too deep. I know their shade range, I think, expanded, but this just happened to my light version. It like cracked and I'm so upset about it because it's actually pretty new. This is a really heavy, thick concealer. There's a very particular way you have to use it. I highly recommend using a finger. You need the warmth of your finger to really work this into the skin. You have to use the tiniest amount, but if you do that and if you're careful with how you use it, it is a really good concealer. Like, it's very hydrating or flexible, but it doesn't necessarily crease. It's just really interesting, but it's kind of a high maintenance one. It's one you have to really take time to blend in, otherwise it'll just be too heavy or it just won't blend properly. But if you have the time, I do like this for those occasions when I have a little bit of extra time. Not the easiest concealer, but it is a really good one if you have the time. Okay, Maddie, how many times can you say that? Move on. I actually have a mini of the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye here as well. I think this is just in the shade Medium. I'll keep that as well. This one right here, this is L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Concealer. I don't remember my thoughts on this one. I think I got this last summer. I'm gonna keep it. I don't really remember if I liked it or not. I'm also gonna be keeping the same tip concealers. I love these little things. They have grown on me over the last year. They're super tiny, but if you need a travel concealer, which I know they don't make travel concealers normally because it's not a huge product to begin with, but when you're putting this in a makeup bag or this, I mean, look at all the space that would save. And it is a good concealer if you can find your right shade, which is tough because they only have like 4 shades. My Tarte Shape Tape. This stuff is probably, oh my gosh, it has a 6-month expiration date. Okay, Tarte, I don't buy that. 6 months. I feel like that's a scam. Trying to get people to throw out a perfectly good concealer that you could probably use for a good year just so that they can make you buy another one. I don't know. That's how I feel. But I do have a little bit left and I do love this, not as a concealer, but I love it as an eyeshadow primer. When I really want to kind of cancel out my eyelids, this is a really good one to do that with. So I'm going to keep it, even though it's clearly past what it claims to be its expiration date. Flower Beauty Light Illusion Concealer. I'm gonna keep this one as well. I'm probably about half done with this one and I do really like it. It works better for me in the summer because it's a little bit dark for me. This is the shade L34. I'm also gonna keep the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This is another one that I really like. I have the shade 115 Light Nude. It's a little bit light for me and I know this is one I would reach for a lot more if I picked up a different shade. I'm always more likely to reach for a concealer when either it matches me perfectly or I have 2 shades of it. And I always do prefer having 2 shades if I can because it just works better. I feel like you need different shades for different areas. So this is one I do still want to keep and I do want to pick up another shade because I do like it a lot. Another definite keeper is the Dior Forever Skin Concealer. I've loved this concealer this last year. Another great one. Really good shade match for me. Perhaps a little bit light for certain areas. I have it in the shade 1W, but I love this stuff. It's really good. It's actually, the value on this is pretty good considering it's Dior. I mean, it's still not good value as a drugstore concealer like this, but I do really like it if you like something a little bit more high-end. This stuff I got from Folklore Cosmetics last spring, I think, maybe last winter. It's in the shade 1 Neutral. I think this is more of like a canceling concealer. It's very peachy, but it actually does work really well for canceling out my under eye circles. I don't do a lot of color correcting though, as I mentioned, but for those times I take the time to add a little bit of this to my under eyes before I put my concealer on. I do notice a difference. I can't decide. I feel like there was a while I was using this and kind of loving it, and then I just went back to just using one concealer because that's just more practical for me than color correcting. So I don't know. I am gonna go ahead and pass this on. I'm good with just one layer of concealer. Then I also have the LA Girl Pro Conceal. I feel like this stuff is really good. This shade is not great for me though. This is the shade Natural. I'm gonna pass it on because I just know this is not a good shade match for me, but I would recommend this concealer. If you're looking for a good affordable one, I think this one is pretty good. And last, we have this stick concealer from Bare Minerals, the Bare Pro Stick Concealer. I like this one. This one's a little bit light for me. It actually might, I think I got this in the summer and it was way too light for me then. I need to pull this back out because I feel like it will match me perfect now. I have the shade Fair Light Neutral 03. It's a really good concealer. It's just pricey for a tiny little stick concealer. I mean, that's all that you get. That right there for, what is this, like 20 bucks at Sephora? I feel like that's kind of pricey. So I probably wouldn't purchase it again, but I do like it, so I am gonna keep it and try and get some more use out of it. All right, you guys, look at that. I decluttered nearly 50% of my concealers. Let's do a quick count here. 18 to 26, that's pretty good for me. Very happy with that. This is definitely gonna help out with my drawer situation downstairs. So I'm gonna put all my rejects into a bin or into the trash, depending where they belong. Then I will meet you guys back downstairs and we will get this reorganized and I'll show you how much better things look. All right, guys, so here are my concealers. Much better. Look, I even have room to grow by a little, not by a lot. Here is the updated drawer, so much better. It actually closes now, which has been a while since I've been able to close it easily like that. Got my primers right over here and then all my foundations right here. So much better, very happy with that. And that is it for today's foundation and concealer declutter. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. There's something very satisfying about doing declutters, especially in the month of January. I think that's a really good way to kick off the new year. Stay tuned, I do have another declutter coming up. I'm gonna be doing a minor declutter and kind of collection overview of all of my eyeshadow palettes. Things have gotten out of hand this year. I know I need to trim some things down, so I will be doing that one very soon. It should be a lot of fun. I know it's gonna be a little bit difficult for me to part with some of these palettes, but I have way too many. So let that be an invitation if you have not yet subscribed to subscribe to my channel and make sure that your notifications are turned on. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, for participating in my full month of nothing new, whether that be you're doing it with me or you're just watching my videos. Either way, I appreciate it. But that is it for today. Thank you guys again. I will see you all in my next video. Bye.